Hello everyone, I'm CoolGuy, welcome back, and today we're going to be covering a weapon that deserves some attention. One that's really good for the solo player, one that's good for team activities, an old Destiny 1 exotic brought back, the bad JuJu. Now, I look at gear and weapons as tools in my toolbox, so with this one, it does have a place. We're going to be talking very highly about bad JuJu at some points today. We're going to hype it up with some of the things that it does very, very well, but then we're going to be coming back down to earth at times and let the truth have some time in the spotlight. For the bad JuJu to shine, there are certain things that you have to do. I've been working with it very heavily for the past 3 to 4 days. I don't mind if you don't mind, I still want to give this exotic a really solid review. We won't be talking about the quest to obtain it in depth. A lot of you have it, and if you're having trouble, there are multiple guides out there from Fallout Plays, Mr. Sean, Houndish, Dado, many more. In this video, we're going to explore its usage, what it's best at, what it's the worst at, what level of PvP it shines in, what subclass, other exotics to pair with it, and some of the character trees that benefit the most for builds. Bad JuJu is an exotic 450 RPM pulse rifle, same as another exotic that was brought back recently, the Outbreak Perfected. Both do what they do very well, but do completely different things. There's competition with them. There's also a lot of competition for usage in the first place because it's a kinetic exotic. For its perks, we have 3 that grant various boosts to handling, stability, and range. It has hipfire grip. Its exotic perk is String of Curses, which does a number of things. It makes the bad JuJu full auto, kills refill the magazine, kills increased damage for a short duration, and grants super energy based on the strength of the String of Curses. That stacks at ×5, that's a lot. It lasts for 4 seconds, and with the catalyst, it lasts for 5. Out of the gate, we know the big draw to bad JuJu is going to be the super energy gained. With the other perks that it has, it kind of resembles Huckleberry, and that perk combo, kills refill the mag, at the same time you're doing more damage, it's something to really consider. It's a very great combination. For its stats, there are 4 things to really pay attention to. The range of 46, which is really low combined with its scope, the stability of 79, which is really high for a pulse rifle. That's combined with the recoil direction of 85, and that is perfect for a pulse, and then we have the aim assist of 60, which is decent. Those are really the 4 things that make up the overall feel of bad JuJu. This exotic's main draw is gaining super energy. We want to build off that, so that starts off with 5 super mods in both PvE and PvP. I have sets for all the mods and it makes perfect sense to run 5 supers with bad JuJu. Your base super is right at around 5 minutes to obtain. That's just standing there not doing anything, no kills. When you add on 5 super mods, your super is 3 minutes 32 seconds. So just with the mods, you're shaving off 1.5 minutes. With the mods, you're guaranteed a super every 3.5 minutes, but you have bad JuJu to add on top of that with gaining super energy. We'll talk about some pairings at the end of the review, but the second thing that you really want to do is have a super gaining perk on your helmet. And that's going to be dependent on your loadout, enhanced if you have them, things like Ashes to Assets, Heavy Lifting, Light Reactor, Pump Action, Remote Connection, Hands-On, any of those types of perks. That way, when you're using your ability, your energy weapon, your power weapon, you're gaining even more super energy more than you would have, so you're setting yourself up for success. As we talked about in the Way of the Sharpshooter video, if you don't do any of this, the bad JuJu will be very average. Still good, but to fully expedite that process of getting your super fast, you need to buy in, you need to commit, you want to make it shine. Now, we currently have super mods. These might be gone with Shadowkeep for intellect, discipline, and strength. And when that happens, you're going to be doing the same thing with intellect. But let's move on and talk about its damage. The damage resembles a sustainable multi-kill clip. Currently, multi-kill clip is one of the biggest base damage dealing perks in the game. With bad JuJu, as you get kills, you start stacking String of Curses. Each kill puts a stack on the string. So it works like Rampage. The damage you get ends up being more than Rampage though. And it does work differently in PvE and PvP. Now in PvE, in this last sector here, we do a base 817 damage per bullet. And then on our second kill, 981, all the way up to ×5, which is 1634. Each stack gives you more damage, 20, 40, 60, 80, and the resulting ×5 at the end is 100% more, or 2 times damage. So bad JuJu is working like Rampage, but the damage is like multi-kill clip. Multi-kill clip has that same 2 times damage, but you don't need reloads with bad JuJu. That magazine just refills, it's very good. So when you look at that lethal portion of bad JuJu combined with the super energy that it's giving you, the full kit, there's a lot to like. Full auto, just holding down the fire button, getting the kills, refilling the mag, getting damage stacks, getting that damage to 2 times its original damage, and that helps make it to where you can keep getting the string a little bit easier. It's very good. And at ×5, String of Curses, you're going to be getting the most super energy that you can get for your kills. So that is a great weapon, but we do need to establish, we need to come down a little bit, this is for ad clear. A lot of weapons are good at ad clear, but with bad JuJu, it's perfect. The string stacks really shred through them. And when you see higher tier enemies, you want to pull out your sniper, loaded question, shotgun, various other weapons, and most of the time you would do that anyway. If you get a ×5 stack, you can spend that damage timer on them on the yellow bars, but that's why we have energy weapons to take care of them. It's not a major or boss weapon, it's very base level at doing that. But what's so good about Bad Juju is that it's the solo player's friend. Any activity from Menagerie to the Forge's Nightfall Strikes, it's so good. But it's not a selfish weapon, because on the flip side of that, you're going to be getting your super quick, and then you use it, you drop orbs for your fire team. In things like raids, absolutely it's going to be good, but when it comes to the final boss or a damage phase, the Bad Juju isn't the option. And that's going to be expected though. At that time, we switched to Outbreak, grenade launchers, various other things. We have very specific loadouts for those. Bad Juju's place isn't there at that time, but it is for all the encounters leading up to that. I mean, take the first encounter of Crown of Sorrow, Riven, anything like that, it's really good. So build around getting your super fast, you spend it and do it again. You want to be focusing on lower tier adds for the clear for the best results. In PvP, from what I've experienced, the Bad Juju is a decent, if not borderline, a good weapon on console, but on PC, it can have some issues. You would say that console is more of a pulse meta and PC is more hand cannon. That's important to think about as we go on. It does 25 to the head and 16 to the body for a time to kill of 0.87 seconds. And that's a 3-burst kill. You need to land 8 of 9 criticals to get that time to kill. And with Bad Juju, this ability allows you to pull that off a little bit easier than some other pulse rifles in the game. It's always going to be difficult though. It has an effective range at just under 39 meters. Very low range for a pulse rifle, and that throws a lot of players off. But this is where that range stat and scope kind of comes into play. And to put it into perspective, a max range Austringer with opening shot hits at about 38.5 meters. If you're to have max range on an Austringer with rangefinder, it's about 35 to 36. So basically, the Bad Juju shares this mid-range space with hand cannons, Luna's Howl, Ace of Spades, not forgotten. But you're going to have better hit detection than those hand cannons past the effective range because it is a pulse. But since it shares that effective range with hand cannons, this means that PC users might have a tough time getting anything going with Bad Juju in the Crucible, and that's a shame. Hand cannons on PC will tear you apart in that mid-range. Console, on the other hand, the Bad Juju works pretty good. Because console 140 and 150 hand cannons in that range, they're a little bit tougher to use. More missed shots happen, so what I do, and you guys have been seeing it throughout the gameplay in the Crucible, and I'm not sure if PC will gain any benefit, but I do throw a crouch in my strafe every now and again, and I play on Puppeteer, it makes it pretty easy. This thing's also full auto, so I just hold down the trigger and throw in a crouch every now and then. And you have to think versus a hand cannon specifically. Your opponent has a rate of fire, a cadence, a rhythm to their shot. They're aiming at your head. So if you crouch and make them miss just one of those shots, you're looking pretty good to be in the gunfight, if not win most of the time. And against 180 RPM hand cannons, the Bad Juju out TTKs them. What you need to do though is focus on a couple things. Number one, as we discussed, super mods, super gaining helmet perk. Number two, you get the most benefit from String of Curses at a ×2. And what's nice, after your first kill, that second kill is going to be slightly easier. The second one is where you really start seeing some of the benefits of the Bad Juju super energy. If you just get some double kills every now and again, Bad Juju has that potential to really shine. I mean, a ×4, ×5 isn't going to happen too much, but after you get your first kill, search for the second one. The second one gives you that slight bump, and more super energy is more super energy. And the third thing is you have to use it kind of like a hand cannon, not like a Bygones, like an Outbreak, Blast Furnace. You need to live within that mid-range or just outside of it, up to about 45 meters. You can't be in the back like you want to be safe with the pulse rifle, you have to be right in the thick of things. The truth is though, aside from pure enjoyment, if you love Bad Juju now, or say it was your main weapon back in Destiny 1, you do you if that's the case, but otherwise, if you don't commit to gaining a fast super with the mods, a super gaining helmet, all the little extra things that we talked about, something like Outbreak is a way better pure dueling weapon. It's going to be a better weapon overall, especially in that 450 RPM category. And that's just comparing it to another pulse within that 450 class, not to mention any other meta weapon in the game. And the last thing before we get to our last section, it does have a special perk, a random perk, and a lot of people are getting it going for the Catalyst for an explosion. I've tried very hard to replicate it, and maybe I'm missing something, I'm still going to try, but it just appears to be random. But let's move on to our last section, builds, and we won't talk about all of them in depth, but we can name them. All of them work in PvE or PvP, and obviously as we're talking about them, you're going to see where it's going to shine more, and sometimes it's going to shine in both areas of the game. So you have your super mods, your super gaining helmet perk, and that perk is going to depend on your build, what you're using as your energy weapon or heavy, or maybe a grenade or melee. But starting out of the gate, any exotic that in some way, shape, or form helps out a super, it's an obvious choice. For the Warlock, Skull of Dire Ahamkara, Crown of Tempest, Deserac Sin a little bit, you can pair it with a Recluse or an Erentil, Phoenix Protocol, Geomax Stabilizers. For the Hunter, the Celestial Nighthawk, Shards of Galanor, the Raiden Flux, Squai's Invest, Orpheus Rig. For the Titan, One-Eyed Mask. I'm just kidding, we'll talk about that in a moment, but we do have Ursa, Helm of Sate 14 for bubble, PvE, blindness, the Crest of Alpha Lupi, more orbs when you cast your super, things like that. But I do have some favorites in no particular order. Number one is going to be that bottom tree way of the sharpshooter for the hunter. There's a card at the top of the screen now and also a link in the description to that video. The core subclass works perfectly with bad juju, practice makes perfect. As you're getting headshots, it's giving a little bit of super energy, and when you land knife headshots, it gives you a very decent amount of super energy. It works really well. And number two is the Geomags on Chaos Reach for the Warlock, and that's both PvE and PvP. You can cut it short after getting some kills, and have a good starting point for your next super, and then for the last part, you just sprint and top it all off. Number three is the Phoenix Protocol Warlock. The nerf that the exotic got is kind of made up for with bad juju, and I'm talking strictly about super energy gain back, not damage, anything like that, but since you are in the well, you have this exotic on, you're gonna be creating more orbs for your teammates, and with those kills, you have your string to ×5, the kills are gonna be a little bit easier. Number four is actually gonna be the Controverse Hold Warlock, and remember, it gives you a random amount of grenade energy back after you hit someone with a grenade, after you hit an enemy. So I pair it with Enhanced Ashes to Assets as my helmet perk, that way my grenade kills even more super energy than it would have. In my energy, I have a Demolitionist Autoloading Holster energy weapon, in this case the Iron Banner fusion. So you have String of Curses, and when ads are in your face, you throw your grenade, then you get right back to the String of Curses string, and then you look at how much energy you got back for your grenade. Sometimes it's close, so at that point you bring out the Demolitionist weapon to get that grenade back and do it all over again. It chains itself, and it is very, very fun. And you can use that with top tree or middle tree. And finally, it pains me to say it, but the bottom tree Striker Titan with One-Eyed Mask. And you know, if the super wasn't so out of control, it would be fine, but the super needs some adjustments in PvP. For PvE, you can use whatever you want instead of One-Eyed Mask. But the bottom tree Striker works perfectly with how we set up our bad juju. And again, that's both PvE and PvP. In PvP, again, I run around as if I'm using a hand cannon. It reminds me of the range that I need to be at, and I pair it with a shotgun. I have pump action on my helmet, so that way if I get a shotgun kill, I get a little bit more super energy. So as an example right here at the start of this game, my goal is to get super energy, right? We're using the bad juju. I have my shotgun out. If I land this kill, I get that bonus super energy. I whiff, that's cool. But the other part of the shotgun is the shotgun beatdown, so I followed up with a melee, and then I have Frontal Assault on Bottom Tree Striker, and this gives you 20% more damage in PvP and 25% more damage in PvE. It also gives you a massive stability buff, so we now have that mid-range laser in its final form, doing more damage with Frontal Assault, and you can get String of Curses going. It's so good. And even in PvE, the Frontal Assault String of Curses isn't really something to be slept on. And if you haven't ad cleared in a while, in a long time using Bottom Tree Striker, you're missing out. So all of these things have a place, and there are a lot of setups, but I don't want to keep you guys too long. In conclusion, the bad juju is very good when you commit to it. You have to be doing some sort of build, and if you don't do that, it's going to be a hard pass. I would like to know your thoughts on the bad juju. What's your favorite setup so far? And as an update for my PC setup and my content, check the pinned comment down below in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching, spending a little bit of your day with me, and until the next one, I am CoolGuy.